Excellent. Well, dear colleagues, thank you for the opportunity to join you for this symposium. Let us enter with Wojtyła into the radiation of fatherhood. This final dramatic work of Karl Wojtyła, Radiation of Fatherhood, may well represent the epitome of his mystical theology and anthropology. Subtitled by its author as a mystery and described by scholars as a unique literary variation of a medieval mystery play, it seems to provide a portal, a veritable holy door, into the Trinitarian mysticism and mystical anthropology of this Polish poet, playwright, priest, and the future Pope St. John Paul II. Written apparently by 1964, likely in front of the tabernacle within the Archdiocesan Chapel in Krakow, and in his own hand. This work represents an interpretive key to the depths of his mystical understanding of the Trinity, humanity, and reality itself. Besides radiation of fatherhood, this tidal theme of divine radiation is evident in other contemporaneous and subsequent writings of Wojtyła. Within a recently discovered manuscript containing meditations on Paul's sermon at the Areopagus, in a catechesis entitled The Fullness of Prayer, Wojtyła wrote of the inner glory and breath of the Father and the Son as the prototype of prayer, which permeates visible and invisible creation. This inner glory is the prototype of every prayer, the breath of which permeates the whole world, visible and invisible. 3 decades later, within his papal encyclical aptly titled Veritatis Splendor, the Splendor of Truth, John Paul II provided a truly Trinitarian reflection on the radiation of fatherhood within divine mercy. Quote, "Indeed, sin itself makes even more radiant the love of the Father, who, in order to ransom a slave, sacrificed his Son. His mercy towards us is redemption." This passage was accompanied in the same document by a similarly Trinitarian meditation incorporating Marian mysticism, invoking Mary as Mother of Humanity and radiant sign of divine mercy. It reads in this selected quote, "Mary is the radiant sign, an inviting model of the moral life. She understands sinful man and loves him with a mother's love." Demonstrating continuing reflection on the theme of divine radiation, John Paul II again referred some 30 years later to the radiation of fatherhood as the interpretive key to reality itself. He stated, "The father-son paradigm is ageless. It is older than human history. The rays of fatherhood contained in this formulation belong to the Trinitarian mystery of God himself, which shines forth from him, illuminating man and his history. This notwithstanding, as we know from Revelation, in human history, the rays of fatherhood meet a first resistance in the obscure but real fact of original sin. This is truly the key for interpreting reality. Original sin attempts then to abolish fatherhood, destroying its rays, which permeate the created world, placing in doubt the truth about God, who is love. If divine revelation regarding the radiation of fatherhood represents the key for interpreting reality, it appears that another contemporaneous writing to which Wojtyła contributed, Gaudium et Spes, may reveal the code to deciphering the mystical theology and anthropology presented within his divine human mystery entitled Radiation of Fatherhood. This is most clearly evident within this following often cited passage. Indeed, the Lord Jesus, when he prayed to the Father that all may be one as we are one, opened up vistas closed to human reason, for he implied a certain likeness between the union of the divine persons and the unity of God's sons in truth and charity. This likeness reveals that man, who is the only creature on earth which God willed for itself, cannot fully find himself except through a sincere gift of self. Analysis of this text discloses the divine revelation within the heavenly realm of the Trinity as persons in communion, and a parallel reality upon the earthly realm of human beings also as persons in communion. The nature of this relationship among created human beings involves both unique self-possession with limitations and a need for reciprocal self-donation. The ethos of the divine union reflected within this human community is characterized by truth and love. If the revelation of the radiation of fatherhood is the interpretive key to reality, and if Gaudium et Spes 24:3 might provide a particular code for decryption of this mystery, then we would expect to find certain related themes within the structure and content of the drama, which Wojtyła has entitled Radiation of Fatherhood. Theologically, within the heavenly dimension of eternity, we might be invited to enter the interior life of the communion of persons within Trinitarian mysticism, characterized by truth and love, and reflected in Marian mysticism. Cosmologically, we might hear echoes of the overarching story of divine love and mercy for man within the mysteries of creation, fallenness, redemption, and resurrection, exitus and reditus. Anthropologically, within the earthly dimension of time, we might encounter aspects of the inner mystery of man created in the image of God, imago Dei, in his uniqueness, alongside his calling to transcend personal solitude and move toward interpersonal unity, communio personarum. Existentially, we might experience the mysterious lived story of specific human beings as embodied souls who seek and struggle in the heights and depths of their being to transcend self and to freely know and love God and others in truth and love. This is precisely what we find. The overarching structure of the drama, the title, the subtitle, the epigraph, the parts, and the scenes, provide initial access to the message and meaning of the work. We have already considered the significance of the title, Radiation of Fatherhood, and the significance of the theme of divine radiation for Wojtyła. Regarding the subtitle, Taborski suggested that designation of the work as a mystery is intended to have theatrical as well as theological connotations. Theatrically, Wojtyła appears to incorporate the genre of the medieval mystery play, which transcends typical space-time reality as it encompasses the Christian cosmos and the interior of the human soul, the past and future converging in the dramatic present. Again, we have the macrocosm and the microcosm, the past and the future, all converging in the present. Theologically, also consistent with the form of the medieval mystery play, Wojtyła appears to liturgically reenact the great cosmic drama of creation, fallenness, redemption, and resurrection. The epigraph, based upon the Vulgate translation of 1 John 5, verses 7 and 8, transports us beyond the veil into the heavenly realm of the eternal divine reality, where we are immersed within the Trinitarian mystery. For there are three that bear record in heaven: the Father, the Word, and the Holy Ghost, and these three are one. It also situates us within the earthly realm of temporal human reality, where the incarnational reality of God enters man via the sacred mysteries, the sacraments of initiation, of baptism, confirmation, and Eucharist. And there are three that bear witness in earth: the Spirit, and the water, and the blood. And these three agree in one. The Trinity, the water, the blood, and the Spirit, sacramentally represented for us in our time and space. The structure of Wojtyła's radiation of fatherhood, as disclosed in the acts of the play, labeled as parts by the author, further illuminates a true distinction between a theological level of reality and an anthropological level of reality. There is the heavenly, eternal, theological, metaphysical level of reality, and there is the earthly, temporal, psychological, existential level of reality. There is the cosmic drama, and there is the human drama. Embedded within the dialogue of the play itself, Adam, the adoptive father, speaks of the great meaning, and Monica, the adopted daughter, refers also to the simple meaning. Tishner more specifically described the radiation of fatherhood as an archidrama, understood on three levels: the highest level of religious revelation of the mystery of one God in Trinity, as the great metaphysics and the origin of all human drama; the next, general metaphysical level of faith, involving the biblical search for understanding, parts 1 and 3 of the drama; and the third level of a particular drama and sad physics of our world, in the drama of a child who has lost her father but has found an adoptive father. Within this analysis, the first two levels would appear to be metaphysical, primarily, with the third level as existential. Although there is an actual distinction between the theological and anthropological levels of reality, there seems in the drama to be a permeable interaction between them, in accord with the simultaneous stage of the medieval mystery play. Furthermore, consistent with the cyclical character of the medieval mystery play, there appears to be a dramatic circularity of movement originating within the religious revelation of the Trinity, passing through the realm of biblical faith, part 1, Adam, entering the particular drama of a child, part 2, the experience of a child, once again passing through the domain of faith, part 3, mother, and ultimately returning to the mysterious inner life of the Trinity. The first act of the drama appears to take place at the nexus between the cosmic drama and the human drama, apart from a usual conceptualization of space and time. The main character is the archetypal ancestor of the human race, whose given name, Adam, meaning man in Hebrew, is a difficult name through which he represents and must encounter every man, and by which he is placed apart as a common denominator for all men. He is the radical mystical change agent whose influence is felt throughout human history. I and the metamorphoses of so many people. I face this always. Parallel to the cosmic drama of creation, fall, redemption, and resurrection, we may discern here the drama of Adam as creature, with interiority and exteriority, who initially prefers loneliness in the heights and depths of his quite closed nature, yet recognizes the residuals of an openness to love as well as a longing for fulfillment. The parallel with created humanity. As the prototype of created humanity, Adam possesses interiority and exteriority. He finds himself searching not from without, but from within. His nature consists of both an outward Adam and an inward Adam, including both a biological sphere of fertility and spiritual depths of fatherhood. Inscribed in his being is an association with the idea of the Father. Although formed of clay, he is imago Dei in his faculties of intellect and will, which both enable and require him to know and to love. He complains, "Did you have to touch my thought with your knowledge that means giving birth? Did you have to touch my will with the love that is fulfillment?" As the original representative of fallen humanity, banished from paradise, Adam recognizes that for many years he has lived as a man exiled from his deeper personality, yet he is condemned to probe it, and he has toiled unceasingly to reach it. He knows firsthand that everyone carries in himself an unrealized substance called humanity. He is aware of the heights and depths of human nature, and he sees within humanity a great distance between being filled to its upper limit or weakened to its lowest. At the borderline between man filled with humanity or humanity destroyed in man. The borderline, again, between a higher aspect of human nature and the lower aspects of human nature. Man's fallen nature includes passing on the germ of loneliness that engenders strife. People torment other people, and the exiled father becomes the punishing father. The primary effect of Adam's fallenness appears to be a constitutive loneliness, which he would rather acknowledge instead of sin. I find it easier to feel lonely than guilty of sin. He is lonely in the midst of a multitude, and he ultimately fears becoming lost in the crowd. He feels closed to others. He is excessively focused on self. My eyes were too fixed on myself, and in such a situation, love is most difficult. The primordial threshold of original sin is understood as the frontier between fatherhood and loneliness. The frontier between fatherhood and loneliness, the choice point. And Adam chooses loneliness over fatherhood. What had been a gift became a burden to me. I threw off fatherhood like a burden. On behalf of mankind, at the heart of this drama of the radiation of fatherhood, Adam thus poses the epic question that echoes through the ages. Why ask that he, man, allow the radiation of your fatherhood to enter him so that he can refract it as a prism refracts light? As the primeval recipient of redeemed humanity, this exiled father eventually appears to recognize that he is made for more. He is made for love. Somehow, within the depths of his being, he remains open to relationship with the other. You did not make me closed. You did not quite close me. Loneliness is not at the bottom of my being at all. His human nature retains a portal through which the Divine Father may enter. You enter through a door that is open. The fissure through which you enter is far deeper. Adam perceives the redemptive suffering of Christ the Son and realizes that in the borderline between loneliness and love, love must become suffering. Love must become sacrifice. The old Adam recognizes the new Adam. And now there are two of us in the history of every man. I who conceive and bear loneliness, and he in whom loneliness disappears and children are born anew. The redemptive love of Christ allows Adam to receive the redemptive effects of the love of a child. You want me to love. You aim at me through a child, through a tiny daughter or son, and my resistance weakens. Nothing remains of the loneliness with which I resist you. The gift of fatherhood becomes the salvation of fathers. Fathers return through their children. The father always revives in the soil of a child's soul. On the journey toward a glorified humanity, Adam treads the path toward fulfillment. Just think, I have not known even for a moment the fulfillment that is in you. He has already recognized that it is love that is fulfillment. The Divine Father gradually restores the divine image in man. You enter and slowly begin to shape me. You shape and develop me in spite of what I imagine about my ego and about other people. Yet you do it in harmony with what I am. The process of growth from loneliness to love is necessarily painful, and it is always so until love gives pain. The pain caused by lack of fulfillment, a lack of my ego in the beloved or of the beloveds in me. Yet the path toward fulfillment is ultimately a path of simplicity. After a long time, I came to understand that you do not want me to be a father unless I become a child. The mystical mother arrives on the scene. As the woman, the new Eve, this mother properly guides Adam toward fulfillment. The woman has entered loneliness. She has entered and enters all the time. She bears the Christ child. In her, new life has been conceived. Even from outside, she tries to enfold the being she carries in her womb. She is a mother. Prefiguring inaugural words of a future pope, the playwright here voices through the mother words of encouragement for Adam to embrace the necessary pain and parallel suffering of fatherhood. Do not be afraid. This must hurt. It is a pain like the pain of birth. The mystical mother points to the radiation of fatherhood as the source of all life and love in the human family. Still, motherhood is an expression of fatherhood. It must always go back to the father to take from him all that it expresses. In this consists the radiation of fatherhood. The simplicity of the child is the way to restoration of the man, as both father and bridegroom. One returns to the father through the child, and the child in turn restores to us the bridegroom in the father. The unity of love in the family, father, mother, child, must not be separated. Do not separate love. Love is a unity. The radiation of fatherhood within the persons of the Holy Trinity thus permeates the Trinity of persons within the human family. The radiation of fatherhood is the simple essence that permeates all of reality. In the words of the mother, this is very simple and ordinary. The whole world is full of it. The radiation of fatherhood is the interpretive key to reality. One must enter the radiation of fatherhood, since only there does everything become fully real. For at no point can the world be fiction, the inner world even less than the external world. In this consists the radiation of fatherhood. It is no metaphor, but reality. The world cannot depend on metaphor alone, the inner world even less than the external world. With Adam, with Mary, and with the unique human person of each Monica, let us enter the radiation of fatherhood, the key to understanding the Holy Trinity, our own humanity, and reality itself. Thank you. Dziękuję bardzo.